So, hello everyone. Good morning. It's so good to see all of you out here on a Sunday morning to learn about, uh, you know, open source contribution. Welcome to this session on Hacktoberfest. Welcome to this session on kickstarting your journey in open source contribution. So, this is a Hacktoberfest special organized by Java User Group Gujarat. Basically, Hacktoberfest is all about contributing to the open source projects that exist and learning how we can contribute to it. So this session is hosted and organized by Java User Group Gujarat. So a bit about ourselves. Java User Group Gujarat is a jug registered jug that is present in Gujarat. So basically, as of now, there are 12 registered jugs across spread across the India, and our aim is to connect with all of the seasoned professional and aspiring Java developers that are spread across Gujarat. We want to provide a platform where rather than a platform, a community where they can contribute and help each other and learn about what all is going on in the Java space. So these are our socials. We are highly active on LinkedIn, so do check out us on LinkedIn. We keep on posting about the sessions that we organize and also about the things that are going on in the current Java space. uh, yeah, so that is about it. Let us connect on our socials. A bit about myself. My name is Kevin Kokani, and I have experience of 5 years as Java backend engineer. I like to tackle complex problems, as it helps me to challenge myself and discover new things. So in my leisure time, I like to play cricket and to listen to music. This is my LinkedIn profile. So let us connect and get to know each other more. Let me introduce you to the speaker of our session. It's Rohan Kumar. Rohan is working as software engineer at Red Hat, and Rohan is highly active in contributing to the open source projects like Eclipse JCube, Fabricate Kubernetes Java client, Fabricate Docker Maven plugin. So basically, Rohan makes life easier of Java developers who all are responsible for Kubernetes integration. These are the socials of Rohan. Do check it out and connect with him as well. It would be great to know him and connect with him. So yeah, that is about it. I guess I can hand it over to Rohan now. Let's get started with the session. So yeah, Rohan, over to
Okay,
you.
okay. Let me share my screen. Just uh, let me know if you are able to see it.
Yep, it is visible.
Okay, let me try to do a full screen. Can you see it?
Yes, visible.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Rohan, and today I'll be giving you a talk about open source and how you can get started with open source, and a little bit about Hacktoberfest as well. So let's get started. So before we start, I just want to set some expectations that what the session is going to be about, and what uh, what should you expect from me, and just so that we are all on the right page. So first, I'll just introduce myself, what I've been doing for for past few years, and then we'll dive into what is open source and how it started, what does it mean, and then we also look into the introduction to open source software, what does free mean, and what are the benefits of open source, why people contribute to open source, why people don't contribute to open source, and we will also see some examples of open source Java projects that I picked while preparing this talk. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not going to be a super technical session. I'm going to just give you a high level overview about things in open source and how you can get started. It's focused mainly on the beginners and newcomers. So if you are a seasoned professional, it might be possible that you won't find it relevant, or maybe we don't know. You might learn something from this. So uh, just setting some expectations here. And okay, I think the organizers already introduced me. So I've been working at Red Hat as a full-time open source software developer since past 7 years, and I have mentored students in Google Summer of Code 2022 and 2019. And over these few years, I have been focused on making lives of Java developers easy with uh, working with containers. So if you are using Docker, if you are using Kubernetes, what I build is helps you i- integrating Kubernetes and Docker into your workflows. So I maintain the Fabricate Docker Memo plugin in my spare time. I inherited it from my mentor, and I've been maintaining it for past 2 years now. And I have been working actively on the Kubernetes Java client and Eclipse JCube. Kubernetes Java client is the Java SDK with which you can interact with Kubernetes. And Eclipse JCube, it's a tool that you can use to deploy your Java applications to Kubernetes. So all of these are related to containers and Java in general, and all of them are open source. So I've been working on these projects for 7 years now, and I with the working on these projects, I think I might have some idea about open source. So I'll try to share my experience and my knowledge with you guys, and I hope that it can be helpful to you. Okay, next one. Okay, so what is open source? When we, it's a, I guess everyone knows it, but let me just reiterate. So open source means that whenever you're using some software, you can see the source code of that software, and you can read it, and you can if you know the language, you can understand what it does, and probably you can even tweak it. You can uh, change something, and you can just share it with your friends. So open source, the open word open in open source, not it's not just applicable to the source code, it's also applicable to the way it's developed. It's also about open thinking, open collaboration. When you uh, work on an open source project, you get to interact with people from all over the world. So you interact with others and you make decisions. You have open discussions on GitHub issues, or Jira, or uh, whatever issue trackers they are using. So everything is decided in the open, and decisions are taken openly, and you interact with so many people, and that's the cooperation part. We also need to understand that open source and free software are not equivalent things. uh, there are lots of projects that are on GitHub, and that are maintained by huge companies. They are open source, which means that their source is available. But in my opinion, they are not truly open, because they are managed by a single company, and they don't really expect PRs from outside contributors. And this is just open source with the name. It's not actual open source. And then you also hear about the FOSS, the GNOME Linux, these type of terms, that they strive for the pure open source free software ideology, that software should be free and it should be accessible to everyone, and you can remix it and redistribute it. So these days, open source has lots of licensing involved, and there are lots of variants about how you can remix it, what are the conditions you can redistribute it, and whether you are a developer, whether you are a corporate. So it's slightly complicated these days with all the license and stuff, but I won't dive into the licensing because it's uh, slightly complicated topic. So I'm just going to keep it simple this time. So okay, so I hope you understood what open source is. And next one, okay. So about open source, how it all started, there are various theories about how this started. I'm just going to start with one about the printer. So back in 1980s, MIT Artificial Intelligence Labs ordered this huge printer from Xerox. Uh, it was so huge that it couldn't fit inside a single room where people were working, so they installed it in some basement, and then they started using it. And suddenly, after a while, they realized that the printer is jamming all the time and it's not working as expected. And there was one guy who was particularly pissed with the behavior of the printer. So, does anyone know who this guy is? It, okay, he's Richard Stallman. So he's a very famous guy when it comes to open source and free software. He's also a core member of the GNU initiative. So he was working on something and he was preparing report for, and he wanted to print it to summarize his work, and he sent the instruction to the printer, and then he realized that the printer is jammed again. So he was super pissed at it, and he wanted to change it. He tried looking at the uh, software that was provided by the Xerox company, and he tried looking at it, and he realized that it's only binary code. So he tried contacting the company that can I have the access to code, and I would like to change it. I have some experience fixing devices, and I can hack devices. So is it possible for me to get this access to source code so that I can fix the bug? But the company said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing? It's our intellectual rights, and we would be sharing that with you." So that kind of sparked the open source movement from Richard Stallman's perspective, and uh, then he started a lot of initiatives. You can just Google about him online, and you see that the Linux that we use these days, it's actually GNU Linux. It's not the Linux that we see. So he's a really awesome guy. So if you watch some videos about him, you would also become slightly passionate about open source and his ideology. So yeah, that's how it's all started. And fast forward to 40 years from now, and we see open source everywhere. Whether it's in on your handheld devices, Linux kernel is running on so many things. Uh, you see open source everywhere, and it's on all places. It's backing the cloud, it's fueling the cloud, and so many softwares, all the backend services, they are all using open source projects. There are proprietary projects as well, but open source is also present, and it's uh, we can't just ignore it. Okay, next. Okay, so when we say open source, when some software is developed openly, what are the benefits of developing this in open? Why don't you, as compared to developing it as a proprietary software inside the company? So why is it better? Uh, in my opinion, the if you have more eyes on, and you have more people who are volunteering, and they would provide better quality of the softwares because they can test it and they can provide feedback, and this can help improving the software's quality. And if it's open, it's also a bit more secure because you can't just take some shortcut while as you can while writing the proprietary code. You can just take some shortcut and do some hack just to get things working. I have done that sometimes in my career, so I'm not going to lie about it. But if you are developing open source, it's not possible to do it because someone is going to point out that why was this change done, and it's going to be caught in code review. And so you have to follow secure practices while developing open source software. And it's also about the customizability aspect, that when you find some open source projects, it's suiting your use case. You want to maybe tweak it a little bit to make it perfect for your use case. You can just fork it, and you can do some changes, and you can adapt it as per your needs. And open exchange, the open source software is developed in the open, and if you go through some open source project and go through the issues, you can see that all the major decisions of whatever functionality is developed there is discussed openly. The feedback is provided openly on the GitHub issues or any other issue tracker. So you can see that all the decisions are being taken in the open, and anyone who has access to it can see it. And also, in open source, we have the collaborative participation. We interact, we work together with so many people across the world, and everyone collaborates together to build a better software. And we all have shared responsibility. So it's not like it's something that in the hands of a one company. We all vote on features, whether good features, we reject bad features. So in a way that to make the software better, the community shares the common responsibility for the good of the software. Okay, so now flip it. Let's flip it to you. That if you contribute to software, open source software, what are the benefits for you? First, it would be growing skills. So you would learn new technologies when you're contributing to some open source projects, as compared to you working on some personal project, or you're doing your some own stuff. You're working in your day job. It can help you enhance your skills, and it can even make you better developer. So I would definitely recommend it for growing skills. And second would be to get out of your comfort zone. We often work on something and then we get comfortable with it, and we try to improve it somehow. But uh, I have been in this position for a long time, that I am working on something, I get comfortable. There are different phases of being a subject matter expert at something. First, you start with a beginner, then you start with advanced, then you reach the level of expert. So, while working on open source, you have to get out of your comfort zone, because as a beginner, you are not going to know everything. So it can be a little bit intimidating as well, but I can recommend that this is definitely something that can help you, because it's not always good to be in your comfort zone. So it's a little bit better to get out of your comfort zone as well. And third point would be to feeling of creating something useful stuff, a feeling of you see these good open source projects, and if you manage to contribute to them, it's a really nice feeling that you made some change and it's live, and people around the world are using it. So that can be a huge confidence booster for you. uh, and last is making new friends. And you get to meet so many people. You can go to conferences, and you can even make new friends there. So open source helps a lot in networking too. That can help you even get a job in future. Okay, at this point, many people don't talk about is why people don't contribute to open source. So, first reason people give is that they don't have time for it. But in my opinion, it's not very honest answer, because we all always have time for Netflix or watching series, but we just don't give it that much priority, maybe. And another aspect is the fear, a fear of uh, looking stupid, or maybe asking stupid question, maybe fear of getting laughed at by the community. But it can happen. But if that happens, I would say that that community is not a good community, and probably it won't last that long. So I understand that fear is whenever you are working on something new, whenever you're taking the first step, there is fear always. But we need to overcome it uh, to get out of the comfort zone. And last one is the imposter syndrome. It's a term from the psychology that of a feeling that we are not good enough. We are not good enough as others. We are not good enough as these open source developers. We are not at that level. We are just a fraud. I have myself been struggling with this for a long time, and uh, I can understand that people can feel that they are not good enough. But I can assure you that we are not perfect. We just have to accept it, and we have to learn as as long as we keep contributing. Okay, so what are the different ways you can contribute to any open source projects? So there are lots of ways. And then you don't just need to contribute code. You can add documentation as well. You can add tests as well. In my opinion, whenever I start looking at some open source project, and if I want to make some first contribution, I tried looking at their documentation, whether the documentation is good enough from the beginner's perspective. Because see, the developers who are developing the open source software, they have their tunnel vision, and sometimes it's difficult for them to write the documentation in a way that would be good for the newcomers and uh, totally people who are not at all familiar with the project. So the documentation and tests are usually the first things I check whenever I'm thinking about contributing to some open source projects. But apart from that, you can also, it depends on how much comfortable you are with the language. You can also contribute new functionalities. You can also look at the existing bugs, and you can fix the bugs and uh, gain more confidence as you fix the bugs. So for me, it would be first checking the documentation and the tests, whether tests need improvement, then moving on to bugs, fixing a few bugs to gain more confidence, then uh, move on to the big meaty features that you can fix and gain some reputation in the community. Another way to contribute is also writing blog posts. If you use some open source projects and if you like it, it's why not make some noise about it? You can just uh, write some nice blog posts that this is how I use it. Uh, this is the way it's done, and so far it's been working out well for me. So it might help out people. So I have done something like this in past, that projects that I have not been involved with, I wrote blog posts about them, and uh, uh, I was quite surprised by the feedback that people actually found that relevant over the years, not immediately, but over the years, people actually started commenting that this was helpful. And so that's a really nice feeling, that if you write blog posts and you get some feedback. Another way to contribute to open source would be something what I'm doing right now, to speak about it. You can also, you don't have to be a subject matter expert at the project in order to speak about it. You just need some basic knowledge, and then you can speak about it, and it would be good for your career as well. Okay, next, this is the most difficult part, finding the right project. So there are so many projects on GitHub. Which one to choose and which one should be relevant for you? As I said previously, there are lots of projects on GitHub that are open source. They are, you can see the source code, but they are not truly open. They don't accept contributions from outside community. They are not so friendly to newcomers. So whenever you are picking the trying to search for the right project, it's really important to have some kind of checklist that it should check all these points. Then you should uh, think about contributing to the project. First would be it's really related to you and what your background you're coming from. That the project should give you some kind of relevance, that you you can relate to it, and you can probably, so you should feel motivated towards working on a project. So you can try it out, and if you like it, maybe you can proceed forward. And whenever you see the project, you should always check the commit history of the project. That is it even in active development right now? Are the pull requests getting reviewed? How much time they are taking? Are the issues getting created? So you should see that whether the project is active or not, because in many cases there are lots of projects that are not so active. They were active in the past, but they are not so active. So it's possible that you might get disappointed if you invest some time on it. So please do check the commit history of the project, whether it's active in development, and the pull requests are getting reviewed uh, in time. And you can try interacting via the chat they are using, whether it's Slack, whether it's Gitter, some Discord channel. So you should try interacting with the community, and you should try to see whether how they are treating the newcomers. You Are they friendly and responsive to newcomers, or they are not replying? Probably it's not good for you that uh, if they are not replying like you want them to. So again, it comes back to what I was saying, that they are open source, but they might not be truly open source. Another thing you should check is to see whether the contributing guides are clear enough for you. So every project, every open source project has some contributing guide where there are set of rules and practices that they use in development. So you should read the contributing guide really carefully, and it should be clear enough for you. And if there is no contributing guide, probably you can ask them on the Slack channel or whatever method of communication they use, mailing list maybe. And again, this one next point also relates to the previous one, that you should see whether this is actual open source project and it actually accepts contributions from external contributors. So you can check on the GitHub with the topics of good first issue and contributions welcome. So to see, it would give you a huge list of projects. You can browse through the projects and pick one that piques your interest, and just keep that checklist that what I shared with you, and just try to see whether those projects are meeting all the requirements. Then you can probably proceed forward. Okay, so if you have found the project that you are interested in, how you can get started with working on it, or uh, this one relates to the previous slide. So we already have found the project. In my opinion, in any project, the first thing that you should do is to understand what the project is. I have seen so many people, they they want to, during Hacktoberfest, they just want to create the pull request, they just make the changes, and they just want to do it as fast as possible. In my opinion, that's not the true spirit of open source. If you're contributing to something, it's you should know what the thing is. So in my opinion, it's really important. This is also related to what I said, that you should feel motivated towards contributing to the project, and you are going to spend time on it, so you should uh, invest some time in understanding what the project is. I'm not saying looking into the internals of the project, but just understand what this thing does, how can I download it, how can I use it, what are the requirements. So for example, I work on tools that are related to Docker and Kubernetes. So if some newcomer uh, tries to contribute to the project, and he can do some trivial tasks, but if he want to get involved as a serious contributor, he needs to uh, get familiar with Docker and Kubernetes too, in order to pick some moderate level tasks. So it's important to try the project and understand what it is, and also to get the motivation as well, that this is some area that I would like to invest my time into. Next one would be to getting involved. Try to see where the developers chat, whether it's the mailing list, whether it's the issue discussions. Try to see how they are discussing things. Are the discussions active? And maybe interact with them, that I'm a newcomer, that I want to contribute. Could you guys please point me in the right direction? If you try it out as user, if something didn't work as expected, you can just report bugs, or you can also look at their test code and see if the test code needs improvement. And you can also review the code. The pull requests are open, you can review it, and I think everyone would appreciate that. And yeah, so most of the GitHub repositories and open source code bases have these entry level issues to work on. They are usually tagged with tags like low hanging fruit, good first issues. You can filter the issues by these tags, and then you can probably start looking in the issues and try to get the idea of whether you can contribute. So there, okay, how to get started. So there are several programs that have been created for people to get involved with open source. So Hacktoberfest is really famous program. Uh, it's been going on for a few years now, and there is a massive participation from the students and newcomers. Earlier, they used to provide a free T-shirt for contributing to open source, but uh, due to that, they had a lot of backlash in the 2020 because there were people who were creating spam pull requests to open source projects, and this wasn't liked by a lot of people in the open source community. So they DigitalOcean worked on that, and they kind of added some filtering labels that you can mark the pull request as scam. There is also Google Summer of Code. You can work on open source projects during the summer, and you can earn stipend as well. It's also very famous. It's even older than Hacktoberfest, and it's also a good way to get started. And there are these I found these websites, code triage, up for grabs. There you can filter these are the issues that are created on open source repositories. So these are the aggregator websites for those kind of issues, and you can filter them with languages and go through them. And this also might help you to find uh, the right project for you and the right task. So okay, I'm not. I'm going to go through the all of the uh, programs in detail. Since this talk is about Hacktoberfest, so I'm going to talk specifically about Hacktoberfest. So Hacktoberfest was this is an initiative started by the DigitalOcean company. So it's about you create 4 pull requests within October. You get them merged to some open source projects that are tagged with this Hacktoberfest label, and you get some kind of reward from that. And it's a really nice program that motivated a lot of people to contribute to open source. So the maybe it was, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's inspired from the Germany's Oktoberfest festival. That's about, I think uh, that's a festival about beer maybe, but it's inspired. It's the naming sounds like that, and uh, this is a really good program opportunity to uh, invest some time in open source. Okay, all right. So you found the project, you understood what it does. So before you get start doing code changes, I would like to stop you, and I would say that before you actually contribute, you should, in my opinion, do these things. First, I think I already told you that you should try out the project as an end user, what this project does, what it's about, before actually creating some pull request uh, and
Uh,
making changes. Yeah.
Rohan, sorry to interrupt. We have a question, I guess, from Bharat.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, Bharat, you're on
Yeah.
mute. Yeah.
So my question is about, for example, let's say currently there are lots of open source projects available, right?
Right.
And to contribute to any of these projects, obviously I have to check out those projects. Firstly, I have to start those projects in my locals, right? So I need all the ecosystems which required to start these projects. And some of the projects like the projects on the Apache or even the JDK ones and all, so they require a lots of different things even apart from what the code is providing us. As a developers, we don't think about how JDK build actually, right? But as a contributor, we have to think about how JDK builds, how it works, what other tools they are working. And sometimes it have seen that there are not such startup documents available. So how I can start, or how I can even run that itself of open source project in my local. So how can tackle those kind of situations?
I think you're talking about Apache and
So any open source project. So I'm, for example, let's say I have to contribute in React project or the Angular project, right? So to contribute to the Angular projects, before contributing, I have to download the source code of Angular itself, right? Then only I can make changes. Then I can build it as an Angular. Then I can use that Angular project into my project, and then I can use it, right? So, for example, might be I generate a temporary build over there. That build I will directly utilize to my project, and over the top of the project, I am running my own project. So, as a developer, I am using Angular, right? But as a contributor, I am a Angular. So there is a difference between as a developer and when this source code itself is there. But
So
yeah, yes,
yeah,
Kevin.
but please correct me if I'm wrong. But you're talking about the setup guide, right? So
Yes,
how can I make sure that Angular itself is up and running in my local to make changes to it?
perfect. Yeah. So there are so I have seen this kind of situation in many open source projects. So how we can tackle those things? No startup guides properly available, so even you cannot start, you cannot contribute, something like this.
Yeah, you're right. If in case of these projects where there is no startup guide available, if I am in that kind of place, so I can always ask on the mailing list or maybe on the Slack channel that guys, this is something that needs attention. How to get started? Uh, if there is someone who can work on it and provide some startup guide, or maybe I can work on it and I can provide it. So this is also something I was talking about, that the projects, the communities where it's not uh, the startup guides and the contributing guides are not specified properly, they probably don't care that much about the external contributors. Sorry if it's a bit blunt, but uh, can also be the case that lots of open source projects, there is some interest of some companies paying some developers to work on those projects and getting the outcome, and probably they they are not truly open. They're just open source for the namesake. But again, if you encounter that type of situation when you don't find any uh, newcomer guide, it's always you can just ask the developers that could you guys please provide me some kind of guide to guys get started, and I'm doing this is not working out, how to fix this. So it's always okay to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I hope I answered your question.
Yep, yep.
Or
Yes, yes, Ron.
you can always ask them.
So mainly, what issues I have seen that the documentation of the open source projects are not that up to much, and
Yeah,
that is
that's true.
even the major concerns. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ron.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have question from Harshvardhan.
Yes.
Sorry, like I don't have any question, but I just add to like I want to add one point over there. So like if you don't find any right documentation, and if you are curious about it, so like talk to maintainers, and most of the time, like even if you can create a documentation for the newcomers. So like you
Yeah.
can add you can contribute to the documentation part of that project. So like it's the same way in the open source programs most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like what Harshvardhan said, most of the time, open source developers, they have their tunnel vision of the thing that they are doing, and they cannot see things the way an outsider can see it. So that's also really helpful in writing documentation and tests. So these are definitely, and always, or most of the time, open source projects, they are short staffed, there are less people working on it. They have to get some integration done for their company, for their employers, and they don't have that much time for documentation. uh, they have some strict deadlines, so it's always they can always use some help to improve the documentation. But before adding documentation, it's important to understand. You have to spend time on it to understand what this is and how it's working. I guess that's applicable to anything in life. If you want to uh, be good at running, you have to spend time on it. So uh,
Yep,
yeah.
agree, agree.
Okay, is there any other question?
No, nothing as of now.
Okay. Okay, so let me go back to where I was. So you have tried the project as an end user, and you check whether there is a contributing guide available. You go to the project website and see whether there is some contributing guide there, or if it's on GitHub, there should be some file named developing.md or contributing.md. You go through that file, check if there are any license agreements that you need to sign before contributing to the project, because lots of organizations, Apache, Eclipse, they require some contributor license agreements that in order to contribute, you need to sign it. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for the main for the organization to accept your changes. So just check it. What are the prerequisites of contributing to the project? And once you have tried out and read all the contributing guide and signed the license agreements of that specific organization, you can set up the development environment for the project. You can set up some IDE using Eclipse or IntelliJ, and if there are some additional requirements for the project, you would need to install those as well. These days there are lots of online coding platforms as well, but I don't know how good they are as of now. So for now, I think you would need to just install them yourself. So for example, in case of JQ where I work on, you need to install IntelliJ. The team works on IntelliJ, IntelliJ Community Edition. I use the Community Edition. It works just fine, and I I need Maven, and if you for beginner level tasks, you just need um, Maven and an IDE to work with. And if you want to work some additional features, you can use you can download some Docker, and you can set up Docker on your machine, and you can also set up Minikube maybe. But this can be installed later if you get comfortable with contributing and you want to take up some good features. So just whenever you're contributing, just check the how to set with the development environment, how you can set up if there are any requirements, any additional tooling that needs to be installed first before uh, start hacking on it. So just check it. Okay.
Yeah, Rohan, one question from my side before we move ahead. So I just want to know that is it always the case that I would have to sign the contributor agreement, and like will all of the open source projects have any governing entity company, or there would be a case where there are developers as well who are maintaining the whole project?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. It depends on the licensing of the project. There are so many licenses. There is Apache 2 license. There is MIT license. So uh, they they have different. All the different open source projects have different procedures. Some projects don't even care you to sign any licensing agreement. So for some projects, it's not even required, but for some big organizations, I think for Apache they do require it. I was going through their website yesterday and I saw something there, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that Eclipse requires to sign ECA, Eclipse Contributor Agreement. So it depends on organization to organization. So I maintain the Docker Maven plugin, and it's on Apache 2 license. So I don't uh, there on Docker Maven plugin you don't require, and also in the Fabricate community client, you don't require any agreement to be signed first. So it's assumed that you're okay with your code complies with the Apache 2 license. Yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on the project to project.
got it. Yeah,
So
thanks.
usually the big organizations, the big players like Apache, the Linux Foundation, CNCF, they might have some process uh, of uh, legal approval for contributions.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
as per my experience.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay, next one is the contributing best practices. Whenever you contribute, uh, these are some of the things you should ask yourself whether the whatever you're contributing, whether it's ticking all these boxes. And when I was young, I was a student. I was new to open source. I was stupid. I was only focused on getting it fast, getting it as fast as possible, but I was so wrong at that time, and I sometimes regret doing that. So I just want to you guys to give this advice that you don't have to be fast, you just have to be right. Try to get do it right rather than doing it fast, because in open source things move slowly, and to be honest, some pull requests even take years to be reviewed. So uh, it takes time in open source, and you have to make sure that you're doing it right, rather than just do it uh, right, rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it. So I would just advise uh, to verify whether you're following all the protocols that are defined. So I have compiled those things into some generic points. First one is to is the contributor agreement. You have signed it. Second one is the having the change as small as simple. It should be really small change, and it should be simple. The smaller it is, the easier it would be to get reviewed and merged, and it shouldn't break the build as well. You should verify that it's compiling is fine. Just do a clean install, and it's not breaking the build. If it's non-trivial change, it should contain tests as well. And for pull requests and commit, you should have some meaningful description. So the pull request should have some meaningful description of what your change is doing. So someone of some community member is going to look at those. Try to think from their perspective. They are going to look at your changes, and just to give them the right context, please describe it. Describe the changes in the pull request description as well, pull request title as well, and the commit description. In my opinion, that's really important. I see a lot of people just create pull requests and just tag the issue number there. So it's not very helpful in my opinion. Okay, common mistakes to avoid. So this is something I have seen over the years that lots of newcomers do these mistakes, and I advise you guys to not do these mistakes. So many times they create the pull request without even signing the contributor agreement. So they don't comply with the contributor agreement. So we want to merge their pull requests, but we cannot because we are bound by legal process. I have seen a lot of people. Next one would be to whenever you're trying to start working on some issue, it's better to get it assigned to you first, because I've seen lots of people, they just create the PR directly, and without even commenting on the issue that they want to work on it. This might work if your the project is not that popular, but in big communities, this can cause some race conditions that two three people create PR for the same issue. So just to avoid that, you should get the issue assigned to you. Then you should start working on it. And yeah, next one is whenever you're working on the issue, try to get an idea of, try to ask more questions, try to understand what the issue is asking, what needs to be done there. Is there some acceptance criteria on the issue defined that these things needs to be done? Then it would be marked as closed. Or if there's some, is there some kind of definition of done for this issue? If it's not specified, please ask on the issue that what needs to be done to close this issue. And I have seen next one, yeah, creating pull requests without testing your changes. I've seen lots of people, they want to do it fast as possible, but sometimes they don't even test it. So I have myself done this mistake sometimes in past. So you should always test, at least test the build is passing. So and then sometimes I've seen this behavior a lot, that people just create pull requests and then they just forget about it. uh, we give some feedback on the pull request, but they don't respond, or maybe they just lost motivation. They don't do anything about the pull request. So in my opinion, this kind of creates a bad impression. I'll be honest with you guys. If This kind of brings shame to India as well. So open source is an open platform. It's an open stage. You are doing work in the open, and people review stuff in the open. And sometime during 2020, there were lots of people during Hacktoberfest who were creating lots of pull requests, just doing some README changes and just creating pull requests for getting the reward in Hacktoberfest. In my opinion, it's not the right motivation to contribute to open source. So uh, you are uh, you are representing your country, your state. So try to be a good open source citizen, and try to be responsible, and accountable for your pull request. So yeah, that's it. Okay, then have some. I while I was preparing these slides, I was checking GitHub yesterday, and I tried compiling some list of projects that you can try out for open source contributions. They might or might not be relevant to you. I just checked whether these projects contain some newcomer type issues that can be picked, but I haven't dived deep into the projects itself. But I just I hope that this might be relevant to you guys. First one is the Elasticsearch project. It's a really famous project, and it's a distributed search and analytics vector database, and it's a really popular, successful project that's being used in so many enterprises. So in order to contribute to the project, it's available on GitHub, and you can just fork it and to look into issues. I see that they had the good first issue and help wanted labels. There were lots of issues there. Uh, and I think if you are interested in this, you can probably uh, check it out. Yeah. Next one is the JBank project. It's something that was created in Red Hat a few years ago by one of the distinguished engineers from the Quarkus team. So this project is about so the right now you write shell scripts uh, in Bash or Python. So this JBank is a tool that you can use to write Java code, but in a script. So you just write one file and you add some JBank header on it, and you can execute it using the JBank tool just like uh, a, a script. So this is a really interesting tool that you can use to you can maybe employ this in your code, that you can try it out. You can just you can do everything without setting up the boilerplate code. Usually most people complain about Java that it has lots of boilerplate code, and in Python you can do everything in a single file. So this project tries to reduce that barrier, and I saw some issues with the good first issue label there, and probably you can check them out, and maybe you can find them relevant. Okay, next one is the project called Eclipse Collections. It's like the regular. It's an add-on over the regular Java Collections API. There are lots of nice DSL endpoints for the data structures that are available, and this also had some good first issue label uh, on the GitHub issues. So maybe you can check it out, and maybe it would work out for you. So this only about it's like the C++ STL library, but some enhancements on the built-in types. So some types were also even moved to the core GDK from it. So it might be a bit interesting. Next one is the one that I work on. So it's a JCube is a tool that Java developers can use to containerize their Java applications. You can build your container images using the tool. You can deploy it to Kubernetes using the tool. You can generate Helm charts. So it does tries to do things to bridge the gap between the Java developer and Kubernetes, so that a Java developer can do everything from his machine. He doesn't have to learn all these kubectl Docker commands. So in the JQ project, we wanted to increase the engagement from the community, and we started this initiative that every week we'll try to find some time to create these issues with the good first issue help wanted labels that people with the who are really new they can get started really easily. So we created these issues with the tag good first issue help wanted, and also a really special tag called first timers only, that these contains really simple, trivial changes that even someone with basics of Java can do these kind of changes. So we wanted to increase the engagement, and so far I think we are getting some engagement due to our commitment to create these type of issues. So if you are interested, maybe you can check out this our project as well. Okay, next one is the check style project. When I was going through the project, I really liked the way they had the issues labeled. So the check style project is about the code quality. So I'm not sure you guys have heard about Sonar plugin. It's a little bit about that, a little bit like that. It's about checking whether the code that you are writing in your organization adheres to the standards set up by the Sun and whatever whether you are doing everything in good practices or not. So you can you can contribute to the project with the good first issue labels. This project even goes further that there are issues with labeled called good second issues, good third issues. So I think I really like the way they had set up the contributing process. So maybe it can be interesting to check out. Okay, next one is the Apache NetBeans. I know not a lot of people are using NetBeans these days, but I I did see I didn't find that many Apache projects out there that were hosted on GitHub. They mostly were hosted on their Apache internal Git server. So I found this one and the NetBeans one, and it had a lot of issues that were labeled with contribution welcome labels. So maybe you can check it out. And in order to contribute, you need to go with the contributing newcomers guide as well. Yeah. Okay. Next one is the Wiremark project. It's a, it's a it's a test HTTP server that if you're writing some web services in Java, uh, you can just spin up a test instance of a cluster and you can set up mocks for some specific endpoints and you can test your application. So this is also a really interesting project that you can check out. I saw some issues with the help wanted labels that might be relevant. Okay, so now we'll be seeing a demo contribution. So so I was wondering if would someone be interested in doing the demo, or shall I contribute? How much time do we have? It's 11:58 right now.
Yeah, I guess we have the session planned till 12:30.
Do you think it would be possible that someone can
Yeah, do we have any volunteers, guys? Does anyone want to contribute?
if not I can show it, but in my opinion it can be or it cannot be good that
So
it can
like what we have to do?
i I would just find some issue on JCube and
Yeah,
you.
sure. Like yeah. I have installed JQ already because I was already contributed there.
Okay, you have already contributed.
Yeah, I am contributed.
Then would you like to share your screen then?
Just a moment, just a moment.
Shall I stop sharing my screen or would it automatically pick up?
Yeah, I guess as soon as Harshvardhan will share, it would pick it up.
Yeah, give me some time. Like I just have
I
to do
think
some.
I have even interacted with you a few times.
Yeah.
Whoa. So we have old connection
Yeah,
revived
like
again. Yeah.
like for this
See,
of 2024 I was trying to contribute to JCube, and like eventually I have completed my GSOC with the JPF team. So like we
okay,
have
that's really nice to hear.
This called open source connection.
yeah.
Yes. But yeah, great, Harshvardhan, you came up and took the
For open source anytime, yeah. Like
So for the demo, we'll be contributing to the JQ project, and because I already have, I already have all the access there, and it can be easier uh, to showcase it. I can assign the issue quickly.
okay, let me go to GitHub and like find the issue first of all. I think I have to uh, get the changes. I have to merge the
Yeah,
changes over there.
you have to go first.
Yeah, like I have to fetch the pull like branch from the. Okay, let me do one thing. I am like sharing the entire screen, so like everyone can find the process how it's going through.
Okay, I'm really sorry for it's. I can understand it can be a bit intimidating as well to just
No, no
share the
issue.
screen and
Even it is pleasure to us that we can see this on live, that how it works
Yeah,
and all. So yeah, thanks Ashwin.
I was discussing this with my colleague that I'm going to uh, present these things about open source. So he said that it won't be that organic if I show the contribution process myself. So that's why I thought I already discussed this with Vikas, and he said that if time allows it, we can probably do it. Okay, so you already have forked the project,
yeah,
so
like I have contributed over there, so I have folk for that. And
Harshvardhan
like,
has already forked. So the first
okay, okay,
step.
okay, let me do. I am just folk the another time, like for
No, no,
sake of
you don't have to fork it again. It's
okay,
fine.
okay, then
So
go
first
ahead.
step is to, in order to contribute, you have to fork the project.
And then like we have to
You have to pull the
get the
latest
project
changes
in.
from master,
Yeah,
yeah, from master or main, whatever main branch they are using. So we are using master at the
master.
moment.
Yeah,
So you pull all the latest changes, and then you create a new branch. You need to make a contribution, so you need to create a new Git branch, give it some meaningful name that maybe you can name it demo
like
contribution, Gujarat jug, maybe.
yeah, sure.
In my opinion, it's really important to have some meaningful names when you're writing commit messages, you're creating branches.
So like
This is
we are I'm following the, like I will always try to create a branch with the name of the issue, so like issue hashtag
that's
the.
also a good practice.
Yeah,
If you see all the big communities, Apache,
hmm.
they always recommend creating issue commits and the branch names with, yeah.
So like now we are on the contribution demo branch, and now
Okay,
let's
now you go to
go
the
to the
project
IntelliJ.
website.
Okay, let's pick one issue.
You need to filter the issues with the label. Go
Yeah,
to the label section and search for good first
first time,
issue. Yeah,
or
yeah.
like if you are first timers, then first timers only issue will be helpful for you. So
I
like
think it's for now. It could be better if you pick first timers only because
yeah,
uh, so
so like everyone
we
can
have
just
created these type of issues so that anyone with basic knowledge, even basic knowledge of Java, can contribute to the project. So if you see these issues, they are very trivial issues. You can, if you want to fix it yourself, you can fix it within a minute or two. So let's filter the
like
issues as, let's apply one more filter. Uh,
okay,
Go to assignee section and click no assignee, assign to nobody, assign to nobody. Yeah. Okay, there are issues that are assigned to nobody. So let's open one of these issues.
yeah, let's go with this one.
Okay, let's read the issue. So the issues is that there is this class abstract ports extractor, and this class is, I think, as far as I remember, this class is reads the application configuration file, and in JQ we create the container image, right? So if the container image needs to have some kind of port exposed. So in order to infer which port should we expose, we try to read the application configuration file, and this class does that. So in this class, there is, can you open this class in your IDE?
Yeah, sure. So generate.
Just press Control Shift N and
Just
type
just a minute,
name.
just a minute. Sorry, there is some noise. I just have to mute myself.
You don't have to worry about the noise. We are all Indians, so we are used to it.
Okay, then. So like the parents are talking over there.
Okay, you can just press Control Shift N. Yeah, yeah. Just type the name abstract ports extractor, and we should be able to see it if it's not fixed already. Sometimes it also happens that the issue is already fixed. Not you don't have to open the bytecode. You dot abstract port. Why is it not coming up? Yeah, go to this one, second one. Yeah, yeah. Which the issue specifies which line? It says go to line 156. Can you go to line 156? 156. Yeah, here. The issue says that we are use. Okay, can we go back to the issue again? So the issue says that we want to replace this string builder. It's not really doing anything interesting. We want to replace it with just plain string with concatenation because it's not that much of concatenation we are doing. So uh, in this type of issues, we already give the solution. So the main thing is not the solution that's important. It's basically to for the newcomer to get familiar with the licensing process and signing the ECA, all the, so that he can get familiar with the process of contributing. So the solution is not that important for these kind of issues. So you can just copy it, or maybe even your IDE would be suggesting a hint that you can refactor it. So if you go to your IntelliJ, if you see some hint, maybe your IDE is already suggesting you that it can be replaced. No, it's not.
On the issues, it looks like there is some already open PRs in the GitHub at the right side. It was showing. Us, you are in the mute. It was saying something.
Oh yeah, let me check the PR.
At the right side, replace string builder by string by Wasit.
Yeah, there is already a pull request. So again, this guy also didn't follow the practice that he didn't. He
Yeah.
started contributing without even getting the issue assigned to him.
Okay.
So,
Like I will just try. I will just raise a draft PF over there, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
I
If
will close it.
just for the sake of demo, we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
create a
I
draft
will
here.
just. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How to get
So like
assigned for any issue?
Yeah. Can you comment on the issue that you would like to get
yeah.
assigned? The issue
Okay.
assigned.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
my opinion, that should be first step before working on something.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
like
Have
you have
I assigned you?
already you have assigned another first time only issue to this person, and then that's why you are not assigned this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just add a comment. I'll assign you right away.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. I have assigned you the issue. All right.
Yes. Rohan assigned me, and now I'm making the changes over there. So like it's
Yeah.
already
You can already copy. You can just copy paste what
yeah,
is
it's
suggested.
already showing the suggestion, and
Yeah.
like I'm just applying
Yeah.
it, and that's
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
got changed.
You have done the changes. Now you
Yeah.
need to commit it.
Yeah.
So
So
you
like
go to your git.
I think before commit, we have to compile the code, right? Whether
no,
everything.
Yeah,
So,
no,
so
no,
yeah.
no.
this
Good
is
point.
fine.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. This is what we should do. So can you do a build?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Go to the repository and can
I
you do git
think
status?
we are using Maven, or I'm not sure
Yeah, yeah.
which
We are
current.
using Maven. We are using
Yeah.
Maven. Just do ambient clean install.
Or
This will
yeah,
you
install,
run the
install,
tests as
install.
well.
Yeah. Like I
We
have
can
practiced
skip.
great.
It's a trivial change. We can just skip the test for this change and to save time as well.
Yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
sure, sure.
did you
Hyphen D
skip
skip
test?
test. Yeah, yeah,
Add ambient clean install dash skip test
yeah.
because it would be faster. Dash capital D skip test. T capital. T should be capital. Yeah, camel case. I think it was tests, not test. Sorry.
Oh, sure, 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 sure.
Yeah. Okay. I think it should work now. It's a trivial change. So we
Hmm.
just, for this type of changes, we just need to verify that the build is working fine. For non-trivial changes, if you're adding some functionality or fixing some bug, it's always helpful to add some unit test to verify that this is working as expected. This is the new behavior, and this is how it should be working. It should take maybe a minute or maybe less, depending on the machine.
Yeah. So all
Okay,
the build got successful,
okay, build is successful. So we have verified that
and
it's working.
yeah,
Uh,
now I can.
it's not breaking the build. Yeah, let we can
Hmm.
now add it to the Git index and we can commit it. Yeah, can you do Git status? Wait. Uh, yeah, while writing the commit messages, uh, please try to use conventional commits. So if you Google for conventional commits, uh, it's the standard way of writing commit messages that uh, that you should. We use conventional commits here, so we usually start with the type of change, and then we describe it. Can you go back to yeah? So this type of change is a refactor. So you should prefix it with refactor. You just need to specify the class name. No, not the package. Just class name is fine. Add a refactor prefix as well. Can you do git commit amend?
I guess Harsh has some audio issue.
Yeah.
Harsh, can you hear us?
No. You're not audible.
Meanwhile, I can see a message from Akash Deep saying I would like to pick up the issue 2632 in Juke. So Akash, I hope you have done the prerequisite steps, and maybe you can comment on the issue, and the issue will get assigned to you.
Yeah, we can Harshvardhan, we can see your screen, so you can just push your changes and uh, create the pull request. We can still see your screen. Has he stopped sharing?
Rohan, this is the only project you are working on right now as your open source, or is there any other projects also?
I'm working on this JQ project, and there is another project called the Fabricate Kubernetes client, the Kubernetes Java client that I'm working on, and there is another project called the Fabricate document plugin. I I'm maintaining it in my spare time. I inherited it from my mentor, and so he doesn't have time to look into it these days. So I'm trying to keep it alive, to be honest. And yeah, these days I am also started looking into some internal projects. So I'm also looking into those. But
Yeah.
over the years, I would say this has been mostly what I have done so far. So this is something we started from scratch, and it hasn't become really popular yet. But yeah, we have been working on it. So it's not really a successful story, to be honest.
It will be. It will be. Because even these Kubernetes Dockers are for many of the people it is still a black box. They don't know what is Kubernetes, what is Dockers, and how to go ahead, because everything is already set up in the project, so they are using it. But frankly, even they particularly don't know that how it works or what it works. So yes, there is a lots time is there. It will go long, and definitely at least I will try this plugin.
Okay,
Sorry guys for the interruption. Like I have at the same time I've got the electricity cut as well as my headphones battery got down. So like both the thing happened at the same time.
it's
It
okay.
is
No
it
worries.
is not a demo if there is no issue.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Yes.
definitely, definitely. Okay, now just me let my shoot my screen. So like I was trying to push my contribution demo branch to my repo, which is in currently my GitHub ID.
Yeah. Uh, it looks like you haven't. It's failing to push.
Don't know why.
Maybe spelling mistake.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
contribution demo.
there's a
There's,
typo.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Nice catch. Nice catch, because
Nice
it's still wrong. You need to
contribution demo.
just copy paste it.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's okay. Like I
Yeah.
have pushed it to my repo currently. So like
Yeah.
I can
So he
find
has
these
pushed it
changes
to
in
his
my repo.
fork.
Yeah.
Now he can go on GitHub, and there should be a pop up there to create the pull request.
So you this.
If you just go to the project, it should,
So like
yeah, parent
in
pull
there is
request.
one
Yeah.
new
Here.
created over there, with contribution demo, and there are some
Yeah.
recent pushes over there.
Yeah. He
So like
has
now
pushed.
I can
So yeah.
raise a PI process.
Right. He has
Hmm.
pushed to, he forked the project, and he did some changes, and he pushed the branch to his fork. And now he's raising a merge request to JCube uh, project. So, okay, before you create the pull request, we have created this pull request template. So most of the projects usually have this. So it's really important to go through the pull request template as well. So if you see the template, we have specified that please try to provide description of what you have done and what type of change is it, and we also tried adding that checklist that I was talking about in my slides previously. So you can just specify the issue number, and you can specify in the description that this is created for the demo for Gujarat Java user group, uh, October. Yeah.
Yeah. So like first I'm finding the issue ID over here. So like I have to
Yeah.
mention this issue ID in the PR template. Like
Right.
it is 3335. So like uh, this PR fixes this issue number.
Yeah, you should always reference the issue numbers,
Yeah.
and you should also uh, describe in English that these are the changes that I have done.
Hmm. So like, uh,
As we are doing this for the demo process, you can just specify that we have created this pull request for demo of this this session. Yeah, and let's
and now,
just go through the. Yeah, you can consider it a chore because it's a cleanup task. So you can put X there,
hmm,
put an X.
I
Yeah.
have to just add X over. Yeah, and then
And then there is a checklist that you have read the contributor guide, you have signed the contributor agreement, you follow the style guidelines of the project, the change is small and simple. This is something that we have added for the contributors to
hmm,
do. So this is these things are applicable to most of the projects. So it's really good that you. No, 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 no. What are you doing? No, 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 no. This is not okay. We haven't tested it on Kubernetes and OpenShift, so
yeah, sorry, yeah,
it's
yeah,
you need to keep it blank. Yeah, yeah. This one, this one is fine. You haven't updated the documentation as well, so you need to cross that one out as well. Uh, just below the changelog, remove the changelog and the documentation because we haven't done it right. So
yeah,
it's uh, it's
definitely.
good to be honest about what I've done
Hmm,
before creating the pull request. Always review what you have done. So just go
hmm,
through the changes. Can you go come to the yeah here? So let's just have a double check whether what have we have done here. So uh, we replace the string builder with the string. So it's a trivial change, so everything looks good. So maybe you can go ahead and create the draft PR.
Why it is showing two file change?
It's
Ideally, it should one only, right?
I think
just one.
Harshvardhan's
Uh,
branch is outdated. Is
yeah, my branch
your
is out. So like,
your branch is showing adding this DS store file as well.
Okay. Hmm.
I think this is some Mac OS related file that's
yeah,
added
yeah,
up
yeah,
every
yeah,
folder.
yeah.
So
Hmm,
you should add some git ignore statement to ignore these type of files so that they don't get
hmm,
added to your work. Yeah. So this was the process of contributing to the project. So usually the pull request gets reviewed within a week. If it's a slightly complicated change, maybe it can take more time. So and if everything if comment maintainers find something, they'll comment on it and ask for some changes. You would need to make those changes, and then if everything looks good, it would be merged and you would become an open source contributor. Okay, so I think that's for the demo. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so with the demo, I conclude my session. So thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak here. I'm a newbie speaker myself, so I really appreciate it. And if you feel free to ask any questions to me after the session as well. I'm active on LinkedIn and I respond to emails as well. So please feel free to reach out. And I reply to everyone. So it's not like I ignore anyone. So I try to be as helpful as I can. So thanks a lot. Uh,
Yes, thanks, Rohan. It was indeed a helpful session. I mean, for someone like me, as you know, I am super new to this stuff, and now maybe I at least I know that how can I start my journey, and I would definitely check out the repos that you have mentioned, and would try to fix one such issue that Harsh just showed us. So thank you for that. And guys, I hope we don't have any other questions, right? Can you post? Okay.
I,
Rohan,
I'll share
yeah,
the PPT link with you guys.
yeah, that would be great. Yes. Yeah. Apart from that, does anyone have any question? Any other question for Rohan?
That's
Yeah, I'll take it as no. So yeah. Also, there is. Before concluding the session, we do have Java Fest that would be coming on 23rd of November, 2024. So javafest.org is the site to check out for the details. So basically, JavaFest is a community-driven, event where all of the Java enthusiasts meet and network, and learn about all of the stuff that is going on in Java space. Basically, it is supported by all of the GUGs, jugs that are present in the Java space, and we are also supporting this Java Fest. So and if we talk about the schedule, there are three tracks going on. So first one is the core Java track, right? This the timings are mentioned over here, and for each of the sessions that are there, then we have enterprise Java track. Similarly, we have a workshop track. So basically we can build all of the stuff, build stuff using the things that we have learned in all of the above mentioned tracks. So indeed a great opportunity, and I think we should not miss out on this. And for more details, you can definitely visit on javafest.org. There is a step to register for it. uh, so yeah, that's it from me as well. Any other questions, any other
Kevin,
inputs?
Kevin,
Yes,
one
Harsh.
thing. So like this is some promotional stuff, but like we also at Micros we have many of the like good first issue like which is for the like code cell and all the stuff. So like I am the I'm putting the link of the issue in chat box. So like if someone who is beginner and want to start with open source contribution, they can definitely look at there. And like there are many so some code cell related issues and some unused import related issues. So like you can definitely check those. And if you find any difficulty, please contact me with like you can contact me GitHub on LinkedIn or anyone else. Else. Like
That's great, Harsh. Yeah,
yeah,
I think people now, everyone would be interested to pick up such issues, because that would definitely help them to get started with this open source contribution. So yeah, with that, I think we are done with the session. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Yeah, okay, I guess it's already stopped.
So let's have a last selfie. Can you
Yes.
all
yeah,
turn off your camera? Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Who's taking selfie? There's a request every one of you to switch on your camera and yeah, let's have a nice selfie. We'll put it up on our social media. Okay.
Okay then. Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Thank
Rohan,
you.
again for the wonderful session. And
Thanks
a
everyone.
big thanks to JUG Gujarat. Let us make sure that we keep on organizing such events, and we all would grow from it. Yep.
Really appreciate the initiative. Thanks a lot. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rohan.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks, sir. Also. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
bye guys, bye.